This afternoon we're looking at a very large and very imposing collected bougainvillea that needs some heavy work in order to become a bonsai. Now at first blush, the angle we're looking at, which shows two trunks here that are rather abruptly cut off, would seem to be a good one for a bonsai, but there's actually a much better angle. Now I didn't cut this at this level. This was how it was collected. The homeowner had a hedge of them running down the side of his house, and he chainsawed them off not far above ground level, which was right about here when I dug it out. Now I've gotten several extra inches of trunk by potting it higher in the pot, but below this we've got surface root issues, so I can't really do any more that way. But there is another way to set this thing up, and I'm going to show that to you in just a minute. Now we see a totally different angle, a totally different line, beautiful S-curve here, with really good taper. The only problem is we've got to take off these other two trunks, the big thick one which is now in the back, and most of this one here, in order to get this and develop it. And we're going to need a good sized saw to do that with. So let's see what we can do about that. I've got a pretty nice reciprocating saw here, so let me get that set up and we'll see if we can make the necessary cuts to start this rather imposing tree on its way to becoming a bonsai. This is my weapon of choice, a reciprocating saw with a long blade designed for cutting wood, and hopefully I can get all this on camera and try. Just see how this goes here. Now there's a big chunk of wood. I think we'll save that, stick it in a pot, probably grow roots and have a shot at being a bonsai of its own. Now we just got to take off this other piece. Then get this thing to grow some branches, and we'll have something. Let's figure out which side, which angle I'm going to cut this from. I think right down through here. And there we are. There's our S-curve, our upright bonsai. Now it's just a question of repotting it and getting it to grow some new branches so that we can kind of hide the cuts. And as healthy as these things tend to grow, and as well as they tend to grow, that part shouldn't be that difficult. So let's clean this up just a little here. We've got some dead branches here and some live ones. Got a confusing tangle of things going on. Quite a change, isn't it? Now we need to clean up the stump up near the future apex. For that, I'm using this. This is a Makita GD800 variable speed die grinder. The cutting bit is something I got from House of Bonsai, and I'm going to use it at its lowest speed because bougainvillea wood is rather soft and it would move through it way too quickly at high speed. So here we go. be enough for now. Don't really want to carve in there with the big tool because we got too many living shoots nearby. So we'll hit that with a little Dremel tool at a later time. I think now the thing we need to do is repot this at a better angle. So let's get to that next. Here's our bougainvillea repotted. Because my videographer isn't here, I wasn't able to show you everything. It's kind of hard to work and run the camera at the same time on a tree this size. But this should give you an idea of where it's going from here. And truth be told, I did this whole video and this tree for my videographer. She's overseas visiting family. And I wanted to do something a little special for her, so this is her tree, and I decided to shape this out and get it going. It's been waiting for 2 years for this, and with the mass and the shape that it has now, it has a brilliant future as a bonsai. So what we're going to do now is a little cut, and then I'm going to take the camera around the tree, since the tree is kind of too big and massive to put on a turntable and turn around, at least working all by my lonesome. And then we'll do, I guess, our traditional parting. This is tentatively the front. I'm sorry you can see my shadow. I'm in the sun here and I've got to shoot with the light behind me in order to get a good look, but we'll come around here and you can see this is where we made the cuts and did some cleaning with the power tools. And this is the back of the tree, and you can see it's got just massive root structure here. We're leaving the leader tall for now because we want it to thicken up and kind of blend in the cut there on that one. And this is, I guess, the right side looking from the front, and back around to the front here. So that's our massive bougainvillea, and I'm really excited about where it's going as a bonsai. So, thank you for watching, folks.